y'all know I've been drinking, so I get to go in a whole nother direction. People be criticizing me about that, especially on YouTube. So let's just go though, right? So Yusef Salam, I guess one of the Central Park Five, ran for city council in New York, and I think he won. This news was delivered to me by Deuce. We don't usually use Deuce News, but today we gonna use it.
Awakened to the horror. On the morning of April 20th, 1989, New York City awakened to the horrifying news.
A Wall Street investment bank left for dead after a brutal attack while she was jogging in Central Park.
A female jogger was clinging to life after being beaten and sexually assaulted in Central Park. The city was outraged. The police quickly arrested a group of teenagers, among them Yusef Salam. Their trial gripped the city.
Oh. A lot of y'all should know about this because it was like kind of that big, like where they was using some of those terms that they started to use, like those super predators and some of those terms they start using for like young black youth in the inner cities. And this was a part of it, like where it was like, yo, these 5 young boys just decided to attack. Like rob, I think it was rob and rape her, right? They robbed her too, I think. Whatever. And I can tell y'all, man, I lived in a lot of hoods all across America. I'm pretty sure in they hood, in their neighborhood, everybody knew they was innocent because that's not something that 5 young black boys in the hood would normally, that shit is out the realm. Right? But you know, as things happen sometimes, we get those wrongful convictions that's nasty. When it's a lot of public outcry and somebody got to go down for the shit, and you might got racist people involved, you might got people that's liable to go along with stereotypes involved, you got people that just might want to look good, you got people that just trying to get this shit done for some political reason. It could be a whole lot of shit going on. That can end up getting somebody jammed up when they don't deserve it.
Their conviction seen by many at the time as justice served. Arrested at 15. You spend 7 years in prison for a crime you did not commit. Vilified in the public for years.
So, that's what also comes along with it. So, not only is you in prison considered to be like a rapist and some shit like that, but when you return to the streets, you're going to be vilified. Like he said, you're a villain. You shouldn't be around kids. You can't live around schools. We don't want to give you an apartment here. Nah, you can't work here. Force a motherfucker right back to a life he might have wanted to leave alone.
But the title of the book is Better, Not Bitter. Not even just a smidge of bitterness.
I got to tell you, I found out that a thing like forgiveness, as an example of where we can go with being able to get out of being bitter, forgiveness is for you. It's for you to be able to surgically cut yourself from the ball and chain that is holding you back.
Oh, talk that
you talk
shit.
About seeing the hand of God in everything.
Yes.
He said it was for him, but you know, he giving the glory to God. Never okay. Shout him out. So obviously he been through some shit, right? And then Deuce hit me like, hey, you know, we gotta, cause I had put Deuce on to this some years ago. And I guess she seen it and was like, yo, let me tell my dad. stories like this make me feel good because, like, so many people have so much shit on their shoulders. You might not even be carrying around guilt. It ain't always guilt on your shoulders. But you in a position of feeling guilty. Motherfuckers treat you like you guilty. Your whole life is wrapped around the guilty. You got the same job as the guilty. You live in the same place as the guilty. You only have the benefits afforded to the guilty. But you ain't guilty. What's really savage in that case, though? What's the real savagery there? Sometimes as humans, all the time, we make bad decisions. We decide to give up. We decide to get the fuck it. You feel like everything kills you, you want to start killing anything. You want to roll with the punches and don't swing or swing. And they both can lead you down different directions, different paths. So just seeing somebody go from point A and he might not feel like it's his point Z, right? But you can have many point Z's. Fuck it. Many as you desire. Because I can tell you from my personal experience, and I ain't even nowhere near that level, that just coming from the life I used to live in, the shoes I walked in, every time I've been up to Deuce College, I felt like I was at point Z. Sometimes when the police roll by me and I ain't worried about them, I feel like I'm at point Z. When I'm streaming and kicking it with dudes in the chat, and I ain't too intoxicated, and I ain't wilding too much, and a motherfucker like, hey, yo, boo, man, that was dope, man. I never heard nobody say nothing like that. I'd be like, I feel like I'm at point Z. So as we progress, as I grow, there probably be other points where I'm like, shit, never seen myself here. Who would have ever imagined this?
It happened to you.
Absolutely.
What'd you mean by that?
There's absolutely no way to get through any trial unless you can see the positive outlook on things. I want people to understand that it is through these kinds of trials that when you're tested, then you can testify. You have a testimony because you were.
Y'all know that thing I say where the best good guys or the good guys that used to be bad guys? He's attempting to say that, but he just can't say it as poetic or charismatic as me.
Able to grow through something as opposed to just go through something.
You think part of your purpose in life was going to prison for a crime you didn't commit?
Absolutely. You know, it's one of those questions where you say to yourself, if I had an opportunity to change anything, would I? But if you change anything in your past, you change everything in your future.
So you do it again. You take the...
I've been asked that question on this stream, and y'all have heard me talk about that point. I don't know how many times. And I'm going to talk about it again. when I think back on my life. So, and I was in prison longer than him. Just, I feel like missing that time stripped me of a lot of opportunities that I felt like was guaranteed for me. Like, a lot of experiences. Maybe I'll never really even have biological kids because of the decisions I made as a teenager. Who the fuck knows? Like, but I'm fully aware that all those decisions that I made as a teenager has led me to this point today, right now as well. So even some of the mistakes that those mistakes created, and the karma and the backlash and the negativity and the struggle was created by that, like, my growths and my happinesses and these new experiences, like, it all came from there as well. So I identify with that because, like, for him, it started there when you have no choice. When you really feel alone. When you understand fully, like, ain't nobody about to understand you. Ain't nobody about to really get it. So y'all have heard me say before, like when he spoke about being bitter, he said, talking about being bitter. So the name of his book is Better Not Bitter. And I told you that my OG told me that. And y'all know I interviewed him on a podcast. He's been on the stream, talking live on the phone and everything before. And he told me, like, yo, when you go home, don't be bitter. And I was maybe about halfway through my bid. So that's something he told me, a very long time ago. This is probably maybe 2008 or 9. He told me that, and that's something that always stuck with me. So a lot of people assume that I'm bitter, but I'm just like him. I'm just better. So the way I handle relationships or ignore people or cut people off or want to get into myself is because, like, I just want the separation. Or sometimes people will confuse bitterness with you really giving a fuck or caring. So in that same darkness, like where he captured this dream that he living out now, I've been in that same darkness. Probably feeling the same way. I get it.
The fall for a crime you didn't commit.
And I wouldn't necessarily say that.
Okay, okay. Salam served nearly 7 years in prison. In 2002, the convictions of the Central Park Five were vacated after a serial rapist confessed to the crime.
Now, bear in mind, there's always more to the struggle. Because even after, do you think people believed it or want to give him a shot or... Shit, if I can remember, I think, and no, I don't got nothing against Donald Trump. I remember Donald Trump was like, lock them up and give them the electric chair or some shit. And I think Donald Trump was just like celebrity real estate motherfucker in New York at that time. But it was a lot of people that was upset. And I think even maybe the Clintons maybe said something. Like, it was that kind of shit. And so when it was over, it was still like a group of people. Welcome to America, baby. Who ain't getting no fuck that they was innocent. Nah, you still nasty and dirty and sticky and diabolical and don't deserve...
After you were exonerated, did you still feel vilified, or did you feel...
Gosh.
You still?
Absolutely. I came out of prison, and so I'm 6'3", and I'm still walking around with my head down inside because it's still not popular to say, yes, I'm one of the Central Park Five.
Why are we here? Things started changing in 2012 when a documentary about the Central Park Five came out, followed by the Netflix miniseries N.Y.C. in 2000.
If you're not familiar with this, look it up. Sometimes I be feeling like I be putting motherfuckers onto a different side of things, a different side to America. See, babies? We give you guys all type of reactions and news and topics and funnies and things of that nature. We try to deliver you the best, the greatest, the most consistent, the most glorious content you have ever seen in your lives. That's just what we do. Put you on the new shit. So that's why dudes probably, she's seeing it. Let me send it because like it's something like near and dear to me for so many reasons. Because when you get that low, you gotta start believing shit that's gonna make people say you crazy. You gotta start doing shit that people think don't make no sense. Fuck is that, John Leguizamo? Talk to me. Journey of a Million